I want you to forget everything you know about silver as money. Forget the Fed. Forget inflation. Forget the coin shop. Something much more terrifying is happening in Washington, D.C. right now. For decades, the U.S. government treated silver as a monetary metal, something they sold off to suppress the price. But in 2025, the script flipped. The United States Geological Survey, USGS, has quietly proposed adding silver to the critical minerals list. Do you understand what that means? They don't put gold on that list. They don't put diamonds on that list. That list is reserved for materials that are essential to national security and economic survival, materials that are in danger of running out. Why the panic? Because the Pentagon has done the math, and they are terrified. They have realized that modern warfare is impossible without silver. Every time a Tomahawk cruise missile is launched, approximately 500 ounces of silver are inside its guidance systems and batteries. When that missile explodes, that silver doesn't go back into a vault. It is vaporized, it is dust, it is gone forever. We are currently burning through our strategic stockpiles of silver to fight wars, build AI data centers, and construct solar grids. And here is their glitch that no one on Wall Street is talking about. The mines are empty. We are in the 5th consecutive year of a global supply deficit. In this video, I'm going to show you why the next squeeze won't come from Redditors or stackers. It is going to come from Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Samsung. The strategic silver era has begun, and if you are holding physical metal, you are sitting on a national security asset. The vaporization of supply, military demand. Let's dig into the military aspect, because this is the dark side of silver demand that the mainstream media ignores. Silver is the most conductive metal on the periodic table. You cannot replace it. Copper is too slow, gold is too expensive. When you are building a fighter jet, a hypersonic missile, or a satellite, you need zero latency, you need silver. Reports indicate that the defense industry's consumption of silver is far higher than the official numbers suggest. Why? Because the numbers are classified. But we know the specs of legacy tech. A Tomahawk missile uses silver zinc batteries and silver-coated wiring to ensure it hits a target 1,000 miles away. Think about the geopolitical landscape in late 2025. Conflict in the Middle East, tensions in the Pacific. The war economy is ramping up. Every new tank, every new drone, every new night vision goggle requires silver. And unlike the silver in your grandma's tea set, this silver is non-recyclable. When a weapon is used, the silver is destroyed. It is a one-way street from the mine to the battlefield. We are literally shooting our silver reserves into the sky and blowing them up. The US government used to hold billions of ounces of silver in strategic stockpiles. Today, that stockpile is effectively zero. They sold it all. Now they have to buy it on the open market, competing with you, competing with Apple, competing with China. The Samsung shock, the EV revolution 2.0. If the military demand wasn't enough, we just got hit with a bombshell from the tech sector. For years, the bears said, EV demand is slowing, silver use will drop. They were wrong. They were looking at old technology. Samsung recently unveiled their new solid-state battery technology for electric vehicles. These batteries are a game changer. 600-mile range, 9-minute charge time, 20-year lifespan. But here's the catch. The secret ingredient is a silver-carbon composite layer. Let's do the math on this, because it is staggering. A standard EV today uses about 25 to 50 grams of silver. These new solid-state batteries could use up to 1 kilogram. That's 1,000 grams of silver per vehicle. That is a 20x increase in silver intensity per car. If just 20% of the global car market switches to this solid-state tech, it would require 16,000 metric tons of silver annually. Do you know what the total global mine production is? About 25,000 tons. One single industry, EVs, could theoretically swallow 60% of all the silver mined on Earth. Where does that leave the solar industry? Where does that leave the jewelry market? Where does that leave you? The math implies a price of silver that is multiples of where we are today. At $60 or even $100, silver is too cheap to incentivize enough mining to meet this demand. The price has to break. The solar J-curve. Speaking of solar, let's debunk the thrifting myth. Analysts keep saying solar panels will use less silver to save money. Reality just proved them wrong. The solar industry is shifting from the old PERC cells to new TOPCon and HJT heterojunction cells. Why? Because they are more efficient at turning sunlight into power. But efficiency comes at a cost. TOPCon cells use 50% more silver than the old panels. HJT cells use even more. In 2024 and 2025, we saw record solar installations globally, led by China. The sheer volume of panels being built, combined with the higher silver loading per panel, has created a solar black hole that is sucking 100 to 200 million ounces of silver out of the market every year. And this demand is price inelastic. Silver is a tiny fraction of the total cost of a solar farm. If silver goes to $100, the cost of the solar panel only goes up a few dollars. The manufacturers will pay any price to keep the factory running. They won't stop buying. The inventory cliff, comics, and LBMA. So we have exploding demand from war, EV tech, and solar. What about supply? This is where the strategic squeeze gets real. We are in the 5th consecutive year of a supply deficit. We are consuming more silver than we mine. For the last 4 years, we filled that gap by draining the above-ground vaults in London, LBMA, and New York, COMEX. But those vaults are running on fumes. We recently saw backwardation in the silver futures market. That means the spot price for immediate delivery was trading higher than the futures price. That is a market screaming, I don't want a paper contract. I want the metal now. Lease rates, the cost to borrow silver, spiked. This only happens when bullion banks are desperate. The US government knows this. That is why the USGS wants to label silver a critical mineral. It is the first step toward potential export controls or strategic stockpiling. Imagine a scenario where the US government says, we need all domestic silver production for national defense. Suddenly, the US Mint stops making silver eagles. Suddenly, Apple and Tesla get priority access, and the retail investor gets locked out. This isn't science fiction. It happened in World War II. It can happen again. The AI factor, the new oil. Finally, we have the artificial intelligence boom. AI isn't just software. It lives in massive data centers, buildings filled with servers that generate incredible heat and use massive amounts of electricity. To make these chips work, to connect these servers, and to manage that heat, you need the best conductor on Earth, silver. Saudi Arabia and Microsoft are building massive AI infrastructure. They are securing their energy supplies, but they are also quietly securing their material supplies. You cannot build the brain of the future with copper. It's too slow. You need silver. We are moving from a financial economy where we trade paper to a material economy where we trade strategic assets. In this new world, silver is the new oil. It is the fuel that powers the military, industrial, technological complex. Here is the bottom line. The silver squeeze isn't about sticking it to the bankers anymore. It's about the physical limits of our planet colliding with the unlimited ambitions of the military and big tech. The price of silver is currently determined by paper contracts on the COMEX. But the availability of silver is determined by geology and physics. When Samsung needs 16,000 tons for batteries, and the Pentagon needs 5,000 tons for missiles, and the solar industry needs 10,000 tons for panels, and we only mine 25,000 tons a year, the paper price is irrelevant. The real price is unobtainium. We are approaching a moment where you won't be asking, what is the price of silver? You will be asking, where can I find any? If you want to stay ahead of this strategic shift, you need to be watching the inventory levels, not just the price. I track the vault data every single day. Don't wait for the government to announce the stockpile. By then, it will be too late. Swap your paper currency for strategic metal while you still can. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below. Do you think the US government will ban silver exports to protect the military supply? Yes or no? Class dismissed.